Alright, I'm going to help you guys out with this isometric creation in Fusion. I'm going to go kind of quick because you guys can pause. So here's what we're going to do. Open up Fusion. Hopefully you already have a new project which is called IED, which I already have. So if you haven't done that, create one. Open up that project, and inside that project I would make a new folder, which I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to call it Isometrics. I'm going to open up that isometrics folder, and there will be nothing in there. That's because I haven't started a new design. So now that this is called untitled over here, I'm going to click on this little save button, and I'm going to call it isometrics. I'm going to include all of my isometrics that I create inside of this design. So instead of creating a sketch, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click New Component. I'm going to call this ISO. I'm going to abbreviate ISO1. You're going to notice that it creates a new part underneath isometrics, and now I can begin. You'll notice that this is 1/4 inch for each one of these little square blocks. Okay, so I can do this in one extrusion if I draw the front face as an L shape. So I'm going to make sure that my document settings are set to inches. If they're not, click on this little pencil and change it to inches. Make sure it's set to default. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch, which is this button right here. I'm going to pick this plane with a left click, and I'm going to draw this L shape using 2 rectangles. My first rectangle, on my left click, is going to start at this origin right here, and my second left click, I'm just going to draw a narrow, tall rectangle just like this. I don't care what the distances are yet. I am going to leave this selected rectangle, and now I'm going to click and make sure that the corner of this bottom right portion of this rectangle lights up with a rectangle, and then I'm going to drag up and to the right so that I have this L shape. And I'm going to press Escape, which is the top left key on your keyboard, until this button is no longer pressed. Now I want to dimension this. I want to make sure that it is 1, 2, 3, 4 squares tall by 1 square wide. And if each of these is 1/4 inch, I know that 1/4 times 4, 0.25 times 4 equals 1. So I'm going to click on Sketch Dimension, and then I'm going to click once on this vertical line, and then once to the left of it. Now I said that 1/4 inch, 0.25, times 4 gives me 1. So I can type in 0.25, and then I can use the asterisk key, and I can type in 4. And if I press Enter, it's going to do the math for me. I could have also just typed in the number 1, but that's a quick way to let Fusion do the math for you. Now it knows how tall to be. Now I'm going to click on, making sure that this is still pressed, dimension. I'm going to click on the top of it. Now this is only 1 square wide, so 0.25, and I don't have to put in times 1 because I know it's going to be 0.25, and press Enter. Now the width of this little narrow rectangle is only 2 squares wide. And I know that 2 times 0.25 is 0.5, but I'm still going to show you that you can type in 0.25 times 2, Enter. I'm going to roll my middle mouse button so I can zoom in, and then I'm going to click on the vertical edge and type in 0.25. Now I have this shape, just like you see, 4 squares tall, and then this little front portion is only 2 squares. So now I'm going to finish my sketch. Everything is black, solid, constrained. Click on the little house if you need to angle it, and then I'm going to click on Extrude. I'm going to click on the 2 regions that I'd like to push out, and then I'm going to drag it towards me. Now how far am I going to drag it? That depends on how many squares. 1, 2, 3. So for this distance, I'm going to type in 0.25, and I'm going to type in the number, times, which is asterisk 3. And then I'm going to press Enter. Click the little house, and now I have my finished part. I'm going to click Save. This little button is Save right here, and click OK. Now I'm going to jump back and activate my assembly. Don't forget to do this. And now I'm ready to make my next part.